What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. This is part 2 of the Walnut epoxy dining table build. Slabs need flattening. Just flattened the first one. It was a success. So stick around to watch how I set up and flatten slab number 2. So here are the materials that I'm using to flatten these slabs. My rail system is just a couple of 2x4s ripped down to about 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. My router sled, this is the one that I built in part 1 of this video series, along with my router. I also have a smaller sled that is made out of some aluminum L brackets here with a couple of pieces of pine just clamped in there. This works well for the last few passes. It allows the router to get really close to the workpiece and get those last few 1/16ths of an inch off. You're also going to need some shims, a level, some clamps, and then quality eye protection, ear protection, and a respirator is not a bad idea if you are in an enclosed area like I am in this garage. So let's get this set up and let's get to flattening. So first up, we need to shim the workpiece. As you can see, it has some nice wobble in it. That's because this corner is high and the opposite corner down there is high. So we're going to throw some shims under there and make sure that the workpiece does not rock. Just a quick side note, if you don't know what a shim is, it's this tapered little piece of wood here. It's thicker on one side, thinner on the other. You can find it at your big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot. It'll be near where they sell doors. There'll be a big pack of them just for a couple bucks. They work great for leveling out your surfaces. So like most, my garage floor slopes towards the exterior of the house to prevent flooding. So my workbench sits on my garage floor and therefore it's going to take on that same little gradual slope. So my rails, they're not going to be level just from the get-go. So I got to throw some shims under here, and that's what the level comes into play. So right now the level is actually sitting on the workpiece because this side, which is towards the exterior of the house, is lower. So I'm just going to throw a couple shims in here. And now it's level. Simple as that, but it's something small where if you don't catch that, your piece is going to be jacked up and it's not going to be flat. So I'm going to do the other end. You can clamp these if you want to, just for extra support, but it kind of gets in the way of the sled, so I'm not going to. I took the level down the entire length of the rails, check for evenness, it's good to go. Little tip, shim the middle section of the 2x4. On the first slab I didn't do that, and when you're running the sled has some weight to it, so it's going to push that 2x4 down. So make sure you support the middle, but that's good. Workpiece is good and secure. Now I need to identify my lowest point to start referencing off of for flattening. I have 2 low corners. This one happens to be just a touch lower. So this is going to be the start point, and that's it. So let's get cutting. I'm going to be using the Amana 2249 slab flattening bit. If you don't have a slab flattening bit, you can absolutely use a straight cut bit, but obviously it's just going to take a lot longer. This has a 1/2 inch diameter and this is 1.5 inches. So when referencing your router bit to the lowest corner, you just want to bring the bit down until it just barely touches the workpiece. So just another quick tip, when you're referencing your lowest corner, keep in mind about how much material that's going to be removing from the highest corner, because you don't want to be taking too much material off at one time. It's going to leave tear out, it's going to ruin your bit and kill your router. So make sure you go to the highest corner and make sure that that depth is not going to be taking too much off. If it is, just raise your router a little bit and make another pass. So on the final pass, I want to make sure that the 2 slabs are even. I take my combination square and find the depth on the first slab, and then simply scribe that line onto the second slab so that I can get my router bit to this line. thank you guys so much for tuning in to part 2 of the walnut epoxy dining table build. I got to get this cleaned up and get it ready for epoxy. So that's what we got coming in part 3. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for the notification so that you know when part 3 is dropped. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you haven't already, check out my Instagram page at Blue Line Woodworks for a little bit more behind the scenes stuff day to day on what I'm building in the shop. So until next time, take it easy.